Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome once again to our technical English class for grade 11. This is our second lesson on uses. Uses part 2 from unit 5 descriptions on page 37 of the course book. In this lesson, we are going to cover three main objectives. Number one, identify 4 ways to talk about the use or function of a device. Number 2, identify what agent nouns are. And the last objective is to find the agent nouns of 7 verbs and use them to complete given sentences. Now, let's begin. Read these dialogues from our last lesson. You can see that the text in red talk about the uses of the inventions. What structures are used to talk about the use or function of the devices? For this one, we have for finding, and the structure is for plus verb with ing. For this one, we have for charging, which is the same structure as the one above. And the last one, we have to move, which is to plus the base form of the verb. There are various ways to talk about the use or function of a device. We are going to look at 4 ways. Number 1, you can use the present simple. When do we use the present simple to talk about the use or function of a device? When you think of a machine or device itself carrying out the action. For example, what does the carburetor do? It mixes air and petrol. You can also use for plus verb with ing, just like we saw in the previous slide. And when do we use this structure to talk about the use or function of a device? We use this structure when we think of a human agent using a tool or device. For example, what's this tool for? It's for hammering in nails. This means that someone uses it to hammer in nails. Let's take a look at another example. What's this device or tool used for? It's for producing drinking water. Let's look at one more example. What can you use it for? You can use it for measuring walls. Okay, moving on. You can also use to plus base form of the verb. For example, this device can be used to charge batteries. Another example is designed to measure high wall. Let's take another example. You can use it to find lost objects. And lastly, you can use act as plus noun to talk about the use or function of a device. And when do we use act as plus noun to talk about the use or function of a device? When the function of an object is like the function of another object. For example, the fan of a hovercraft acts as a propeller. Now, let's find some examples of the ways of talking about the use or function of a device from a text. Good. Look back at the text in 2, this text, and underline examples of the various ways to describe uses and functions of devices. Pause the video and find the examples. Great. Now, let's check some examples. We have for listening, we have for restart, we have jump, dive, roll, and we have acts as a jet ski. Very good. Next, we will do a short exercise to check our understanding. Choose the correct answers. Pause the video and do the exercise. Let's take the answers. Number 1, the PC is 4. Okay, which structure is this? 4 plus verb with ing. Great. So we have 4 developing. Number 2, your body can act as a space of electricity in a thunderstorm. Act as. So our answer is C. And the last one, this PC is designed to space software system. So this structure, to plus base form of the verb, and that is develop. Very good. Moving on to our next objective. Look at these words. What do they have in common? What do they have in common? Very good. They are nouns and they perform actions. So they are agent nouns. Many nouns end in ER or OR, just like we have here. They are often agent nouns. An agent noun shows the person or thing that does an action. For example, a calculator is a noun, is a machine. It calculates sums. Calculate is a verb. Calculator is derived from the verb calculate. Very good. There are some changes in spelling when you add ER or OR. For a verb ending in E, like calculate, delete the final E. Have calculator. Next, double the final consonant after a short vowel. For example, propel. This is a short vowel, so double the L. Propel. Finally, I know you may be wondering if there are rules to say why one noun ends in ER or OR. The simple answer is there are no rules to say why one noun ends in ER or OR. All you need to do is you just have to learn them as you go along. Very good. Now let's see if we can find the agent nouns of some verbs. Open your course books to page 37. We are going to do exercises 8 and 9. Exercise 8. Find the agent nouns for the verbs in the box. Use a dictionary if necessary. So we have calculate, conduct, contain, generate, receive, stabilize, and transmit. Now, pause the video, use a dictionary if necessary to find the agent nouns. Good. Now, let's check the answers. Calculator, great. Now, let's move on to exercise 9. Fill in the blanks. Use nouns from the listing 8. These nouns. Pause the video and give it a try. Now let's check the answers. Very good. This is the end of today's lesson. But before we go, let's quickly summarize our first objective. We have identified 4 ways of talking about the use or function of a device. You can use the present simple when you think of a machine or device itself carrying out the action. You can use for plus verb with ing when you think of a human agent using a device or a tool. You can also use to plus base form of the verb. And lastly, you can use act as plus noun when the function of one object is like the function of another object. Thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.